by Don King Productions and King Vision in association with Showtime Event Television, the MGM Grand and Gold Premium Beer. This bout coming away is sanctioned and directed under the auspices of the World Boxing Association President Gilberto Mendoza, representing the WBA Dr. Elias Cordova, Supervisor Leonard Nipper Reed, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Dr. Elias Ghanem, Commissioners Nat Carasali, Lorenzo Fertitta, Luther Mack, and Dr. James Ney. The Executive Director, Mark Ratner. Physicians at ringside, we have Doctors Flip Homansky, James Game, Al Campana, and Robert Voy. Timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, Jane Broadfoot and James Cavan. And our judges scoring this bout from ringside, who will determine the outcome should we go to a decision, Dwayne Ford, Chuck Jumpa, and Jerry Roth. All right, fans, here we go. The time has come. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it is showtime! With the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the world scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you our referee in charge of this bout, the third man in the ring working in this is 96th world title bout, Mills Lane. Presenting to you first, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing his traditional black trunks and hailing from Catskill, New York. He weighed in at a ready 218 pounds with a record of 45 wins, 2 losses. He has 39 big wins coming by way of knockout. The youngest man ever to win the heavyweight title. He is looking to exact his revenge and regain his championship tonight. Challenging for his third heavyweight crown, here is the current WBA #1 contender, one of the great powers of heavyweight history, the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Iron Mike Tyson. And his opponent across the ring in the red corner, presenting the defending world champion, wearing purple trunks with white trim, fighting out of it, representing his hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. He weighed in the same weight as his opponent, 218 pounds, with a record of 33 wins, 3 losses. He has 24 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome only the second man in history to have captured the heavyweight crown 3 times, the former undisputed cruiserweight world champion, the former undisputed heavyweight world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, here is boxing's warrior spirit, the current WBA heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Evander, the real deal, Holyfield. Once again, our referee in charge, Mills Lane, now to give instructions.
Grease off, Richie. Take the grease off the side. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now, gentlemen, we've gone through all the instructions in the dressing room. Hey, step back, Richie. Now, look here. Right here. If he goes right here, I'm not going to call it low, okay? If he goes right here, I'm not going to call it low. Now, I expect a tough, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Any questions from the challenger, Chief Second? Any questions from the champion, Chief Second? Let's get it on!
What an atmosphere we have here. Is it repeat for Holyfield or revenge for Tyson? Can Holyfield be as good again? Can Tyson reignite the old flames? Last time, Holyfield refused to be intimidated. That stuff, he said, doesn't work with me. Tyson has 20 first-round wins on his record. Here we go again. The rematch we've waited a long time to see. And from early on in the first contest, Holyfield sent out the message to Tyson that he wasn't going to be dominated. Tyson looking to let go with that left hook. Are we going to see Tyson get off with the old four-punch combinations that were a feature of his work in his heyday? Mills Lane very quickly establishing his control.
I think that's something he's got to do. He doesn't want it to tangle. He doesn't want them to get in too involved and be a physical fight. He wants to get them to break cleanly straight from the off.
There was a lot of holding and spoiling in the first fight in the early rounds anyway, and that was how Holyfield managed to just foil a lot of Tyson's work, and then he dominated on the outside. In that first fight, Holyfield seemed to be armor-plated against Tyson's power.
From the Tyson camp have said they're trying to get Tyson to start throwing combinations, to throw his punches in clusters like he didn't do in the first fight. But is he going to find the jab, which was always so good in his early career? He threw everything off the jab, powerful weapon. He's got to find that.
There's Holyfield again, making Tyson miss and hitting it with a right-hand counter. That was a feature of their first battle. There he is again with the right hand. Holyfield is such a good technician.
It's very early stages, but Holyfield looks very physically strong. He looks more intent to take the fight to Tyson.
Holyfield says his motivation is to make sure everyone knows that the first result was no fluke. Gets in with two good punches to the head. Tyson has got his gloves held pretty high. I'm not sure they landed flush, but the more positive start has come from Evander Holyfield.
But he's really taking the fight to Tyson. Is he overconfident? Is he going to walk onto something?
That is always the danger when you're talking about Tyson's mega power. If it was a popularity contest in here, in any case, Holyfield would have already won. Massive chants ringing around the arena for him, and they can hardly hear the bell that goes to end the first round, which I believe Holyfield did enough to win.
Yes, that was his round. He was pushing Tyson back. I think he knows that if he pushes Tyson onto the back foot, Tyson can't work effectively.
But Tyson did not come out, as many of us thought, really fast and with guns blazing.
Stay with the jab, so you're stiff jabbing good. I want you now jab for the throat. Jabbing for the throat. You're moving good. Keep off the center. Keep moving and punch. You got to punch. Don't wait on it.
The voice of Richie Giacchetti, who's back in the Tyson corner.
And he was asking him to jab. That's what he has to do. Tell him to jab for the throw, which really hurts an opponent. They can't do anything when they're winded with a punch like that.
You just wonder what mental scars have been left in Tyson's mind from the first battle. It was a good shot Holyfield landed in that first round. Here's round two. It's due, of course, to go 12 rounds. Still no sign of that Tyson jab.
Tyson already complaining a little bit to the referee there. Cut has opened already.
He's got a cut, and this time it's by the right eye. There was a clash of heads there. Now then, does the referee see that as an accidental or deliberate clash of heads. That's what we need to know. It has to go 4 completed rounds under the rules. Otherwise, it could possibly be declared a no contest. We hope that doesn't happen. Tyson dabs away at the cut. He was cut, remember, in training for this fight. He was cut in the first battle between these two.
And you'd think this is where doubts are going to come into Tyson's mind. He hasn't started that well already. He's got a cut.
And again, he's looking at the referee and complaining. But this is interesting because, of course, the Tyson camp protested about the original choice of referee Mitch Halpin. And Tyson now wants some help from Mills Lane, but is he giving distress signals out?
Well, it looks to be, but very interesting that Tyson has been bullied in there. Holyfield really taking the fight to him.
Some damage by that right eye for Tyson. He did get in with a right hand.
Holyfield superbly conditioned. Only he's got 3 gears: hard, harder and hardest, they say, and that's the way he'll fight.
This is a man, remember, who fought for 13 years for nothing, Evander Holyfield. Never mind, he's got $150 million out of this business in his bank account. He relishes the battle. He has amazing will, and he's taken control early here against Tyson, who so far has looked flat and distressed.
It's getting rough in there. Mills Lane just taking the time out, having a talk to them. They were starting to wrestle and pull about in there.
There's Tyson using his jab. Glenn, you get the impression at this stage that Tyson needs the morale booster of a punch that maybe just wobbles Holyfield a little, puts a dent in him.
Yes, he needs to get something. The cut looks as if it's getting worse. He's just not getting his punches off. And when Holyfield starts, he's getting off first. It's all a little bit too messy in this round. But Holyfield much the stronger.
2 rounds gone. Tyson does not look a happy man. He's got a cut to the right eye. In the first fight, it was a cut to the left eye. Now, how bad is that?
It looked bad. It looked to be bleeding quite a bit. And there you hear a little yelp as they pushed to try and close that cut. The only way you can close the cut, you need the adrenaline. You've got to put pressure on. Now he's trying to push Richie Giacchetti out the way.
Let me take a look. Go underneath, right? Give me a look.
Can I hold pressure on him?
You can see Tyson now shouting to the referee. He's not happy. He feels that Holyfield butted him.
Yes, it looked as if that's what he was trying to say there. The heads did come close there. That could well have been the top of Holyfield's head, but I don't think it was deliberate. He was trying to load up for a left hook.
The situation here is if the fight has to be stopped because of that cut and it's deemed accidental before 4 rounds, it will be a technical draw or no contest. After that, they go to the scorecards. Now, Tyson goes for it at the beginning of round 3. Listen to the crowd. Suddenly, Tyson catches fire.
Well, this is where Tyson has to show character if he can regain the title. He's coming out full of aggression in this round, but what answers has Holyfield got?
Can Tyson sustain that aggression, though? A lot of people say about Holyfield, well, he doesn't produce good performances twice running. Only a glancing blow with the left hook from Holyfield.
Again, a little bit of rough stuff inside. Tyson just trying to use the forearm there, pushing Holyfield up with the forearm.
Good right hand from Tyson. He's done better in this third round. Is he just beginning to warm to the task a little more? Holyfield says Tyson had better hope that he can produce a better performance because he knows the last one wasn't good enough against me. Look at that from Holyfield.
That was good, mixing it up well there. In the first fight, he threw good body punches, Holyfield, that landed.
Right hand from Tyson, looked a great shot, but Holyfield just sucked it up again. This man, whose wife is a specialist in pain management.
But this has been a much better round for Tyson. He's getting off first, he's landed with effective punches.
Oh, and some nasty stuff in there. There needs to be a bite almost. Holyfield is very unhappy. Look at this. It looked as if Tyson bared his teeth at one stage in the exchange.
Yes,
bit
I think
his ear.
He bit his ear. That's what Holyfield was in a lot of pain from that. You see the blood on the ear. That was definitely a bite.
Well, feelings are running very, very hot indeed in there. Holyfield was outraged by that. Now, what is the referee going to do about that? 1 point deduction for Tyson. 1 point deducted from Mike Tyson for biting Holyfield's ear. Now, let's take a look again.
Yes, it's just here. He gets into the position there. Watch. You see, he stays there. There, he bites him there. You see him lift his teeth. And Holyfield in agony at that point, trying to rip free. In an awful lot of pain.
Well, this is getting like a street fight. It'll take more than that to stop Holyfield going on, but we have all kinds of chaos. Mark Ratner is there, the Nevada commissioner on the far side. We've got the doctor in the ring as well. This is only round 3. What next? Now, could Tyson even be disqualified?
I'm sure that possibility is very, very real.
Should he be disqualified?
Well, it was blatant. I mean, it was a terrible thing to do. And there was an awful lot of blood there. It looked a really bad injury.
Well, after all the build-up this fight has had and all the money it's generating around the world, it would take a brave referee to end it by disqualification at this point. But we've had a long, long break here and a lot of discussion going on. But I think the fight is going to continue.
Well, this is where Holyfield will need that pain management that his wife is a doctor in, because he must be in pain from that.
Well, this is a real grudge match now. And Tyson again looks as if he was about to have another fight. Holyfield is furious. Tyson clearly feels he needs to do something to rock Holyfield's composure. But he's really going a long, long way beyond the Queensberry rules in doing it. Holyfield's talking to him now. Well, that was an extraordinary round. It was an outrageous foul by Tyson, really.
It was terrible. It showed the real brute, the beast that he is. And I think, you know, this is a sport and you shouldn't ever have to revert to that, especially in this level of boxing. It really showed for what he is. I mean, that was terrible to do that to a sportsman like Holyfield. And there he is. He really sunk his teeth in there.
Well, the crowd are booing because they've just seen the slow motion on the big screen. Now what's going on in the ring? There seems to be some kind of altercation going on.
It looks like he could have been disqualified. The fight could be over. Certainly the Holyfield camp had their arms in the air at one point there, and everybody jumped into the ring.
We have confusion here at the moment about what exactly has happened. Holyfield's camp threw their arms off. Now we've got a fight going on in the ring between various camps. Tyson wants to join in with it. Oh, and this is getting totally out of control now.
Tyson is the one who started it, and he's the one who's furious. He's the one that's causing all the problems. He's trying to get at Holyfield here.
And I wonder whether this fight will be able to go on after all of this. I don't think it can. I think that Tyson may well have been disqualified. These are sad and ugly scenes. We have had no official announcement, but certainly Holyfield and his camp believe that they have won the fight. We await clarification. Tyson certainly wanted to continue the argument and looked to be engaging some of the Holyfield camp followers in a separate fight.
Because he was the one, he was trying to get at Holyfield at that point, and I think there was people trying to stop him, and it all broke loose. But he was the one that was out of control. Look at the injury, Ian. That's a terrible injury to the ear.
Well, it looks like a bit of the ear has been absolutely bitten off, doesn't it?
It does. It looks like he took a chunk out there.
And then he took a second bite, as I thought. He bared his teeth again, and I think for that second bite, Mills Lane has been left with no alternative but to disqualify Mike Tyson. Although we await an official announcement.
But if we look at the injury to Tyson, he's got a terrible cut on his right eye, which, you know, I don't think he'd have went on too long after that. I think that maybe have been the panic setting in to Tyson, knowing he's on the verge of defeat.
Well, now there are microphones going on in the ring. Well, the fans who've paid up to $1,500 and some of them more on the black market to see this have seen a very sorry spectacle. It is over. Holyfield is leaving the ring. Well, the first fight was a classic. The second fight we were so excited about, but it has ended in the most controversial, sad and sorry circumstances. Nobody's been disqualified in a heavyweight title fight for more than 50 years. Joe Louis against Buddy Bear, we think. We're checking the records. That's terrible, isn't it, Glenn?
It really is. That was against a great fighter like Holyfield. He will not want to win the fight like that. He will want to beat Tyson fair and square, and I think really all Tyson did was not allow that to happen. It was terrible. It showed a brute, an animal in Tyson. You know, he couldn't win fairly, so he had to try and do that.
He not only bit Holyfield once, he did it a second time. Mills Lane drafted in as the last minute.
Second foul. I told him, do not do that again. You do, you're gone.
So he could have continued. The physical condition of Evander Holyfield was such a view that he could have continued had he not disqualified Tyson.
Well, I didn't ask the doctor. I never reached that point. I wasn't going to ask the doctor. That wasn't a question. That kind of foul would be. You got to take a position sometime, somewhere. That was it.
Pandemonium breaking out here as Mike Tyson is leaving the ring, and we'll continue with Mills Lang. As you see people getting knocked over, our camera goes down. Mills, let me continue here. Mike Tyson's people and Tyson are going to say, I'm sure you didn't call a foul on the headbutt, which caused the eye, and this could have been a retaliation by Tyson.
I called it a butt.
But you didn't take a point.
An unintentional butt, you don't take a point. An unintentional butt unless it's occurred the second time. An unintentional butt, if if he fights stop, you go to the scorecards after 4 rounds. There's a difference between an unintentional butt and a bite.
Do you feel as though that's what Tyson was doing, however, that he was retaliating?
I do not know. You'll have to ask him. I don't speculate. I do not know the answer to that.
Obviously, disappointment, Mills. Got to be disappointing for you to have it come to a conclusion like this as well.
You know, you play the hand you dealt and do the best you can with the cards. That's all I can tell you.
All right, Mills Lane, thank you for your time.
Well, how ironic that Mills Lane, the referee brought in after the Tyson camp protested about the original choice, Mitch Halpern, is the referee who has disqualified Mike Tyson. This is, well, it's another sensational ending in its own way, but a sensation we did not want.
No, really, you can't describe it. I mean, the people who have paid an awful lot of money, it's a massive, massive event, and Mike Tyson has spoilt it all, you know, and showed himself to be a terrible character in there, a character that doesn't belong in this profession, you know, a real beast who shouldn't be allowed to box. It was a terrible thing he did.
Yes, he looked, didn't he, like a spoilt bully who couldn't have his own way in there. Holyfield had dominated him largely, and he'd taken a few punches that Tyson had thrown at the start of the 3rd round. They hadn't made a dent either, so in he went with the teeth.
That twice. You summed it up there. You summed up the reactions of a bully who just doesn't get his own way and has to do something like that.
Holyfield, let me tell you, and we still await an official announcement, by the way, has retained the WBA Heavyweight Championship on a disqualification. In an amazing 3rd round. There have been 1 or 2 scuffles breaking out, not very many, I'm pleased to tell you, and they're now under control among the big crowd here as well, among the more volatile of the rival supporters. Holyfield has gone off in absolute disgust. You're right what you say, Glenn. He would not have wanted to retain the title in that fashion at all. He would have wanted to go on and prove conclusively his domination of Tyson.
Well, you saw his reaction after the first one. He was ready to go on. I mean, the first one was terrible, and yet he still would have went on and really bad. It looked like a chunk out of his ear, and yet he was ready to go on again. And he's a warrior. You know, he's a fighter. He knows there's rough stuff, but I mean, that was just really far beyond anything that should go on. You know, and really, he doesn't belong in this profession.
Well, absolutely extraordinary of all the scenarios we thought of this week.
All right, Evander Holyfield, 2 bites on each side. 1 piece is missing out of your plastic surgeon said. Your reaction?
Well, first of all, I had to give praise to the Lord. You know, Jesus, Lord, you know, I'm still the champion. You still get the glory. And, you know, the things that happened, it didn't have to happen. You know, I was beating him, and you know, he spit out of my mouthpiece and bit me in the ear.
Is that the act of a crazed man? Because to beat you twice, I mean, to bite you twice is a little crazy.
Well, you know, the whole thing is that, you know, in the first one, you know, my corner, you know, told me to just keep cool, and I thought about that, you know, a distraction would happen, and his prophets told me to, just breathe deep and just concentrate on Jesus. Then I went back out there again, and I caught him with good shots, and he bit my ear on purpose again.
How can he bite your ear with a mouthpiece? Spit it out of them?
He spit the mouthpiece out. He spit the mouthpiece out and bit me on the ear for the last time. You know, the whole thing is that, you know, really, his only chance that he thought he could is just to go. My whole thing is that, you know, the whole thing is my ear bleeding, and this guy continued to foul. You know, I'm thankful that we have a referee like Mill Lane see the situation that this thing is intention. And, you know, it's just amazed when.
Would this rule out a rematch? It's stupid to ask you right now for a rematch. This guy went and lost his marbles. Is a rematch possible, or are you so mad you wouldn't even think about that?
Well, you know, the whole thing is that, you know, I have to concentrate and I have to think, you know, I have to think about the situation. Because the big thing is to, you know, a rules and regulation, mandatory things. But the rules, you got to understand when a person deliberately bites you constantly and trying to break my arm, because, you know, in the corner he's just doing illegal tactics. You know, Mill Lane said, you don't break. You know, the whole thing is that, I mean, there's just an easy way to get out of the fight, the foul, because you know you're gonna get disqualified instead of fighting through. I'm saying that don't show no courage whatsoever. Everybody know how to get out of the fight. All you have to do is foul. You'll get yourself out. Then you can say, well, he didn't beat me.
Would you say this is an act of a desperate man? Would you say he was desperate in there? Is that the word you think, to cause a guy to do something so unusual?
Well, just the whole thing is that, you know, I truly believe that fear itself causes people to do the easiest thing, the quicker thing to get out. I'm saying the whole thing is that we're in a fight already. So why do you have to bite somebody? If you feel that you can whoop me, why you can't whoop me with the gloves on? Well, this is a boxing match. This is not a rumble. And when the fight is over, then you get brave and you really want to fight. I'm saying, you had a chance to fight. You know, why you got to bite on my ear? The whole thing is that, it's not real. You know, my whole thing is that I just give praise to the Lord that it is not worse than it is. I thought my ear had fell off.
Well, your plastic surgeon here says a piece is missing out of your ear, which means you'll have to have a plastic repair. And either ear, since human bites are so dangerous, have to be taken care of tonight at the hospital.
I look forward to going to the hospital. Good thing I got a doctor.
All right.
Mills Lane disqualifies Mike Tyson for biting Evander Holyfield in both ears. The winner by way of disqualification, and still the WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Evander, the real deal, Holyfield.
Well, I hate to say it, but it was a coward's performance, that by Tyson. You're going to get people now talking about a third match between these two. In my view, Tyson does not deserve one.
He certainly doesn't. For me, he does not deserve to be back in the ring. You know, all the time we were brought up with the Customato thing about the hero and the coward, and the teachings of D'Amato that how a fighter would react under them circumstances, and his own pupil reacted the way he did. You know, he reacted like a coward. And it was, I mean, I think he'd thought about it, because I'm sure at the beginning of the third round he tried to come out, they stopped it, he came back to have his gum shield replaced. So you only wonder if at the beginning of the third round he'd already thought that he was going out. It was a planned thing to try and bite him.
There's the man at the center of the controversy, Mills Lane. But for our money, Glenn and I here, he did exactly the right thing. He was given no choice by Tyson. He gave him the benefit of the doubt the first time with the awful bite which removed part of Holyfield's ear. And then, I mean, that's what was so cynical. Tyson deliberately did it again. He almost asked to be thrown out, didn't he?
He did it. Holyfield said the right thing there. He did it because he was scared. He was scared of the beating that Holyfield was going to put on him. So that's why he did it again. He wanted out of the ring.
Here's John Horn, Tyson camp.
Ain't got nothing to do with his arms, his legs, his hands, his body, nothing.
You don't need to scream at me. You don't need to scream at me.
Mike got a cut over his eye.
Okay.
Mike got a 3-inch cut over his eye. That the blood will penetrate to his eye, blur his vision, and everything. Now, I understand.
Mills Lane, let me clarify for you, since you don't know what Mills Lane has said to us. Mills Lane said he didn't disqualify him for the first fight because he was willing to let that go with the 2-point deduction. The second fight, however, at the end of the round is what he said he had just had enough.
Well, I have to see everything about first. I can't comment on no bite or whatever the case may be. All I know is Mike got a 3-inch gash over his eye.
Are you unhappy with the referee, Mills Lane?
Not at all. There's nothing. No, not at all. I'm unhappy with all the headbutts and stuff for 2 fights. Mike done been cut 4 times by this guy, neither time by a punch. Now you tell me what that is. That's all I know. Everything else I'm gonna have to see about, I'm gonna have to go over. I don't know nothing about that. But he turned it into a street fight a long time ago.
The tapes clearly show that, I'm being told, in the first fight that Mike caused the butts, and that was ascertained. In this one, it was an accidental butt, although it appeared. What would you have liked to have seen done at that moment? It's too late after the fact to bite somebody. What would you have liked to have seen at that time?
All I know is this. There was nothing wrong with Evander Holyfield that would have kept him from performing. That's all I know. So I can't comment.
But you're not unhappy with the referee? This was your referee?
No, I'm not unhappy because I don't even know all the terms yet. Everything happened so quickly, I don't even know all the conditions. All I know is my fighter got a 3-inch cut over his eye.
Okay. Can we talk to Mike Tyson?
No, not right now. Mike has a 3-inch cut he has to take care of. Thank you very much.
Okay, John. Don King. Obviously, not the way that anybody expected that this was going to go. Very disappointing to everybody who bought the fight and those in attendance here. Your thoughts on this disqualification?
Well, I think that the headbutts was there, and I think that when he had the headbutts, and as he had headbutts prior to that, it should have been some type of a point taken away or something to acknowledge these headbutts, because this was said so priorly before the fight started, to watch the headbutts. You know what I mean? And so it's very difficult when two athletes are fighting. You know what I mean? And things can happen, but these headbutts seemingly...
Don, but the fact of the matter is the headbutts, yes, it is a problem. Everybody will acknowledge that Holyfield was in violation with the headbutts. The proper reaction, however, is not to bite, correct?
Well, the proper reaction is not to bite. You know what I mean? But I guess when a guy feels that he's pleading with the referee to give him some consideration and he don't get the consideration, then he just goes beyond reason. I mean, you must be able to deal with reason and practicality, but you got two athletes in there, highly passionate, very hot, ready to fight, and fight they were doing. The fight was just beginning. I don't know why it would be stopped.
Well, because Holyfield, it was determined by Mills Lane. Well, let me stop you right there before we go on to that. You're saying Mills Lane should not have stopped the fight on the second fight?
No. When Holyfield got bitten, Mills Lane said he took a point from Mike Tyson.
Then a second point.
And what the second point?
And then at the end of the round, Mills Lane has said that Tyson bit him on the other ear, which in this instance I believe would be the left ear. 2 bites on the ear.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment on that.
That's why he disqualified.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to see that before I make any comments. I don't want to be irrational.
Let's move on. Where does this leave Mike Tyson in his career, and will there be a third bout between these two, and do you think you could ever put anything like that together?
Well, I want to find out first the facts, and then if you find out the facts, you see what you can do. I think that when a fighter like Mike Tyson or Holyfield find that they're being wrong and they're not getting the consideration that they think they should have, then they try to take it in their own hands, and that's not always the right thing to do. But nevertheless, that's what's been done when you have people out there that's in this type of atmosphere and climate, and it looked like they were just beginning to fight.
Could you ever, do you feel, convince Holyfield to take this fight against him?
I don't know. I don't know whether I can or not until we find out what all of the evidence is and find out what is happening, what actually happened. You know what I mean? I'm just like a fan as anyone else at this particular time.
It'd be a terrible disappointment if there wasn't another, correct?
Yeah, it certainly would be, because these guys certainly don't prove that they're two good athletes, but they got to be able to fight, and they want to fight, and it looked like that's what they were doing. I didn't know. I thought after the points was taken, that was the punishment meted out for whatever the error was in Mike Tyson. What happened after that, I don't know, because when he sat down, the bell rang, he went to the corners, I thought they was coming back out to fight, and all of a sudden it was the DQ.
I know you don't make this decision, but should these fighters be paid for this evening's work? There's some $60-some-odd million who went out tonight, out of your pocket.
Yes, they should be paid. They came, they fought. You know what I mean? Boxing is unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen in a boxing match. That's what makes it so great. But the fact of the matter is, well, I think we should first try to find out what happened before we start making judgment.
What do you say to the folks who bought the fight, who are terribly disappointed, who are watching this right now?
I'm disappointed myself because of the outcome. I want to see this fight go to the finale. You know what I mean? It was the Sound and the Fury. It was something that everybody purported and recognized as going to be a great event. And then here comes the headbutts, and then here comes the retaliation for the headbutts. But after you get taking the points from the man, I just think that they should have been able to fight. If you get a headbutt or a low blow, you get 5 minutes to recuperate. I think they should have took another step to say, give them 5 minutes to recuperate or something, to let these people get their money's worth and be able to deal with this fight.
As the man in charge of this show, I've got to put you on the spot right here. What will you do in the upcoming moments to make sure that we have a word with Mike Tyson before we leave the air?
Well, I'm going to do everything I can to talk to Mike Tyson, to let Mike Tyson tell his side of the story. I think it's only fair and proper that he should do that, and I would do everything I can to get him to do that. Also, would like to get to talk to the commission and find out what their judgment is on a situation of this type. And when this has happened, after you take the points, to come back and take the fight too. I don't understand it, so maybe they can explain it to me.
Well, as you say, only in America, and only in America.
Well, Jim Gray was the reporter there talking to Don King, and before that, John Horn, the co-manager of Mike Tyson. Now, let's have a look again at this controversial exchange. We look at this from Tyson.
Absolutely terrible. It really is. And you can see that he's enraged, absolutely enraged. I mean, he's probably in terrible pain there. You saw the damage that he had to the ear. You know, there was a chunk missing from his ear. But look at Tyson. Then he attacks him when he's turned his back. I mean, the actions of a desperate man.
Well, we wanted to see Tyson as a hungry fighter again, but not like that. 2 bites. They broached the subject there with Don King as we look again at the second incident.
They were complaining
of the pay. Now, should Tyson get paid $30 million for that?
Well, Don King said, Don King hasn't seen the tape. I think when the commission see the tape, the commission, there is no way that Tyson should get paid. I mean, he spoiled this fight for everybody. It's an outrage, and there's no way on earth that he should get $30 million for what he did. He should get fined.
Well, Evander Holyfield is no crybaby. He's been in several memorable battles through the years, and those of you at home, I'm sure, will have seen many of those battles. He's not the kind to make a mountain out of a molehill in those situations. There were 2 bites from Tyson. The referee was surely given no choice at all. Things are beginning to settle down, but what we've seen here is a fight that will go down in history in its own way, rather like you think of the night of the long count, when Gene Tunney was on the floor for 14 seconds against Jack Dempsey back in the 20s. Tunney still went on to win that fight, the so-called phantom punch with which Muhammad Ali beat Sonny Liston in their second fight back in the 60s. Things like that. It's going to go into that kind of category, this one. The first disqualification in a world heavyweight title fight, we reckon, for some 50 years. A night in which Mike Tyson covered himself really in disgrace here in Las Vegas.
I'm now joined by Mike Tyson. Mike, first of all, let's go in chronological order. The headbutt in the second round, which opened the gash on your eye. Tell us about that first, please.
He butted me in the first round, but then he butted me again in the second round. Then as soon as he butted me, I watched him. He had me holding, and he looked right at me, and I saw him, and he was going for it, and he kept going for it, and he butted me again. He kept going down and coming up, and he charged into me. And no one warned him, no one took any points for him. What am I to do? This is my career. I can't continue getting butted like that. I got children to raise, and this guy keeps butting me, trying to cut me and get me stopped on cut. I got to retaliate.
Now, immediately you stopped. You stopped fighting immediately right there, and you turned to Mills Lane and you said what? And the result was he did nothing. But what did you say to Mills right at that time?
I don't remember what I said. I told him that he butted me, but I know I complained about being butted. And we complained about the first fight. Listen, Holyfield is not the tough warrior everyone says he is. He got little nicks on his there, and he quit. I got an eye. I got one eye. He's not impaired. He got ears. I got one eye. Big day. If he take one, I got another one. I'm ready to fight. He didn't want to fight. I'm ready to fight him right now.
Yeah, Mills Lane stopped the fight. It wasn't Holyfield who stopped.
Oh, he didn't want to fight.
Let me ask.
We don't know what Mills did. Don't put nothing on Mills.
Okay. Well, Mills said he stopped the fight. You bit him. Was that a retaliation for the eye when you bit him in his ear?
Regardless of what I did, he butted me for 2 fights.
But you got to address it, Mike.
I did address it. I addressed it in the ring.
Why did you do that, though, Mike? I mean, was that the proper response?
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I got to go home. My kids are going to be scared of me. Look at me, man.
What are you going to do now in terms of your career, Mike? Well, you continue to fight. Okay.
Well, extraordinary stuff there from Mike Tyson. He's trying to justify himself.
To recruit and to retain them within the